little go at some tomatoes today. So I've got my canner. I'm using my little yellow one today. He's called Sunny. We love him. I've oiled my seal, checked my air pipe, put in a little splash of vinegar. I'm going to add my water and get it on the stove. Now I'm not going to turn the heat on at the moment because what I'm doing some raw packed tomatoes for simplicity's sake. So we're going to give that a go. That starts with a cold canner. So we don't want to crack the jars. So what we're going to do, we're going to dip these in some boiling water and then quickly into some cold water. So we put them in boiling water for 60 seconds and then straight into cold water. So that was their hot dip. And this is their cold. Now hopefully when we pull them out, it should be a little easier to slip the skins off. So I'm just going to core these quickly. Without stopping, I'm just going to core these quickly. And the skins just come right off. Now it's a lot easier. What I'd normally do is I would normally put them in the freezer and then you can just take them straight out, thaw them, and by the time they're thawed you can literally just slide the skin straight off. I didn't have time for that today. So, one tomato. Now what we do, once we've done all of those, look. So now that we've done that, I've got a pile of skins there. Here is my dehydrator tray. I use a little Teflon baking mesh thing on top, which makes it nice and non-stick, makes the holes a little bit smaller. So I'm going to lay the tomato skins out. I will dry them and turn them into tomato powder later because why not? It takes no extra effort on my part and it's very tasty. Here we go. So we'll give them a little bit of space in between. Try not to lump it up too much. But they dry pretty quickly, the tomato skins. So I'll throw those in the dehydrator for later. And now that those are safely away, what I'm going to do, I'm going to get my jars. Now I'm following the NCHFP instructions. Whole or half tomatoes, packed raw, without added liquid. So we're going to see how this one goes. I'm going to add a tablespoon of lemon juice to each jar before I start. That way I can't forget to add it later. You can add salt if you like. I don't usually, but then I am a culprit of over salting things afterwards, so I tend not to add it in while I'm cooking. Now, so we've added our lemon juice to the jars. You can use citric acid instead. I will look up the exact details after I've done this. So what we do is we push in the tomatoes. You can do them whole or halved. In this instance, I'm doing them whole, pretty much to prove a point because I want to see how easy I can make this. And it says to push them down until the spaces between them fill with juice. I'll see if I can fit another one in that one. Looks pretty filled with juice to me. As you can see, the plum type tomatoes just slip in really nice and easily. Oh, it smells like lemon juice. actually going to cut this one just to make it a little bit easier to get in. Now, this may be the fastest processing I think I've ever done. Now, as we need 4 pints at least to run in our canner to make sure that it is evenly pressured, I'm going to run this one just with some water in. Just because I've got nothing else to put in there at present. Just going to wipe them down. Make sure there's nothing to foul the seal. So I'm doing these in mason jars predominantly because I want to compare them to some I've already got, so I want as direct a comparison as possible. So, get the lids on there. I've wiped my rims. Don't worry about that mark, that's just some Sharpie. So those are ready. I'm gonna get them in my canner. So as these are a raw pack, I have not preheated my canner, so this is still cool. I'm gonna get the jars in. There we go. And get that on the heat. So now I've wiped my rims, I'm just going to give them a quick debubble. Was there a big tomato in that one? I think it may well have been more sensible to halve these ones. But there we go. Lessons learned for next time. And lids back on. Now, what I should have done was debubble them before then wiping the lids. However, it is very easy to forget to debubble. And then you've got to take the lids off and start again. So, back in the canner. Now, she may not be the prettiest girl at the party, but she's definitely the happiest. So I'm just heating up my canner on the stove now. Because this is run from a raw pack, we start off with the canner cold, so it's only just gone on the heat and starting to warm up. So we're going to wait until it starts releasing a cone of steam, and then we're going to get on and start our timer for the 10-minute vent. So my timer's just gone off for the end of my 10-minute vent, so I'm going to add my weight, wait for that to come up to pressure now. You can see my pressure lock's just popped, and I'll see you when the pressure's built. You can see we're just starting to come up to pressure now. I'm going to turn the heat down just to the extent that the jiggler keeps rocking very slowly. There we go. I will let that run now for the processing time. See you at the end. And my timer's just gone off, and it's time to turn off the heat and wait for the canner to depressurize. Okay, so my little pressure lock has dropped there. I'm going to take the weight off and give it another 10 minutes. So they have been waiting with the lid on for 10 minutes. I'm now going to remove the lid, turn and lift away from me. And I'm now going to give them 10 minutes with the lid off before we take them out. Okay, so my final timer has gone off and it's time to get the jars out of the canner. Just to build some suspense, I'm going to start with the water, which clearly sealed beautifully. And now we're going to check out a couple of these have popped already. There's only one that hasn't popped so far. That is not this one. I'm just putting them on a towel to the side. It's actually this one that hasn't quite popped yet, but I'm sure it will. And last one out. There we go. You can see they're floating a little bit where they've been processed. Tomatoes do like to do that. So we'll put that on a towel to cool down. I will rinse out the canner and I will see you tomorrow to check the seals. Night. Good morning. It has been the obligatory 24 hours and here are our nice cooled jars of tomato and the water, but we'll leave that to one side. So all of our lids are nicely pressed in. You can see the contents have dropped on these two. They were floating to begin with. This one's still floating. I think it's just got a little bit of air trapped underneath it, which will release in time. And that'll drop, I imagine. So, I'll take off the rings and test the seals. No, good strong seal there. So, as you can see, I could probably have squished a couple more in there, and I think when I do it next time, I will. So this is not a method that I've used before. I have done a few others. A little bit of sticky tomato goop around the outside there, but not much has leaked out. So I think next time I'll definitely cut them in half because they're quite large tomatoes, and I think that would make the difference there. So if I cut them in half, get a couple more in. Yep, no. Good, strong seals, all of them. You can see that none of them have bulgy lid. So these are ready to be washed and placed in the cupboard. Voila. While I'm up here checking my seals, I'm just going to check on the tomato skins I put in the dehydrator yesterday. As you can see, they're nice and crumbly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to powder those and get them stored up. Easy.